Welcome to the AC 24/7 Top Story Countdown. We'll guide you through the biggest news of the day. Our focus, advocating our rights, advocating health, and advocating Earth. Here's our pick for number 4.
As North Korea's nuclear and missile programs race ahead, their hackers have been busy on a newer front. CNN has exclusively learned about a counterpunch against North Korea's aggressive efforts to steal cryptocurrency by the hundreds of millions to fund Kim Jong-un's military programs.
Right now, with North Korea trying to figure out ways to open up border trade again, the only sustainable recurring source of revenue in any meaningful way is the crypto theft angle.
Last year, according to the crypto firm Chainalysis, North Korea stole an estimated $1.7 billion, nearly half of the $3.8 billion in crypto stolen in 22 globally.
It's the kind of return on investment that North Korea can only dream about. Other things they can do, like mining, selling coal, iron ore, involve tens of thousands of laborers, slave laborers. But this, they can do it with a handful of people and make enormous sums of money.
To cut off this revenue stream, the U.S. and South Korea are stepping up efforts with increasingly sophisticated tactics. Last June, the California-based crypto startup Harmony was hacked for $100 million, primarily in the cryptocurrency Ethereum. The FBI determined that North Korea was behind the hack. South Korean intelligence and American crypto investigators were quickly on their tail, able to track the stolen crypto through the system until the moment they tried to convert it to a dollar-pegged account.
So there's a moment, a matter of minutes, where the North Koreans have to send the crypto money to other accounts that they're not controlling. And that's when these private investigators, the South Korean spies, the FBI, they try to pounce right then and there.
But the sting seized just 1% of the amount stolen, or $1 million, showing just how big the challenge is to disrupt North Korea's crypto schemes.
To act at that moment of opportunity when you can do something, it's extremely time-intensive and difficult. To be able to provide law enforcement with the tools they need to track those asset movements in real time, that's the real innovation here.
The synergy between private crypto companies and intelligence and law enforcement is growing. The Biden administration credited with taking the threat seriously.
In my conversations with senior administration officials, they're emphasizing that this is indeed a regular part of the president's intelligence briefing.
This is North Korea and its criminal ways moving into the virtual age. As cryptocurrencies become more and more popular, it means the opportunities for North Korean hackers also continue to grow. This is clearly an area Kim Jong-un is prioritizing, and it is far less labor-intensive than other efforts. Now, in just the past few days, the State Department's envoy for North Korea met with Japanese and South Korean counterparts in Seoul, and together they issued a statement calling out North Korea's crypto theft and reiterating they're working together closely to try to block it.
TheAdvocateChannel.com looks at the world through the lens of equality and inclusion. Subscribe, like, and share now. AC 24/7's Top Story Countdown continues with our producer's pick for number 3.
An interagency effort is underway.
This level of breach is significant.
To determine the authenticity and impact of dozens of leaked Pentagon documents that were posted online in recent weeks.
If there's 50 classified documents, there's 50 separate stories that are going to impact on the ground in Ukraine right now.
The information contained in the documents reveals the depths of U.S. spying on allies and foes alike.
Number one, the most important thing we have are our sources, and number two are our allies. And when those are both put in jeopardy, that makes us less secure and it makes our enemies more emboldened.
Some of the documents, which officials say are authentic, expose the extent of U.S. eavesdropping on allies, including South Korea, Israel, and Ukraine. Others seem to divulge key weaknesses in Ukrainian weaponry and military readiness, while some show the degree to which the U.S. has penetrated the Russian Ministry of Defense.
Its goal is to weaken our resolve, weaken our alliance.
But unlike previous intelligence leaks, U.S. officials believe some of the documents may have been altered.
These photos appear to show documents similar in format to those used to provide daily updates to our senior leaders on Ukraine and Russia. Some of these images appear to have been altered.
A Pentagon spokesperson said the U.S. is already in talks with allies regarding the leak, and steps are being taken to tighten the flow of such highly sensitive documents.
Like the Advocate channel on Facebook for the best way to get updates on stories that advocate for equality, justice, our rights, and more. AC 24/7 continues with today's top 2 pick.
Democratic lawmakers tonight putting more pressure on Justice Clarence Thomas over luxury trips he didn't disclose. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez calling for accountability for Thomas.
It is the House's responsibility to pursue that investigation in the form of impeachment.
With a Republican-controlled House, an impeachment of Justice Thomas is very unlikely. But top Democratic lawmakers are pressing Chief Justice John Roberts to investigate.
If Justice Roberts cares about the integrity of this court, and I believe he does, he needs to prove it with a thorough and complete investigation of what occurred.
The investigative news organization ProPublica reports that Justice Thomas and his wife, conservative activist Ginny Thomas, have gone on lavish trips subsidized at least in part by Harlan Crow, a Dallas billionaire who's a big Republican donor. They've gone to a volcanic archipelago in Indonesia, stayed at several high-end properties owned by Crow, the report says, and have traveled around on Crow's super yacht and his private jet.
We found this has been going on for more than 20 years, and it stretches back to the 1990s.
Thomas, in a recent documentary which ProPublica says was funded partly by Harlan Crow, said he had modest taste in vacation spots.
I prefer the RV parks. I prefer the Walmart parking lots to the beaches and things like that. There's something normal to me about it.
But in reality, according to ProPublica, this is where Thomas sometimes stayed, a stone lodge on the water in the Adirondacks in upstate New York, owned by Harlan Crow. With the exception of one trip in 1997, ProPublica says, Thomas didn't disclose any of these trips on ethics filings. Thomas issued a statement saying he was advised he didn't have to report them. But watchdog groups say some laws and ethics rules were likely broken.
Here's this billionaire who's got lots of rich friends and can court the justice and bring his friends who are CEOs to potentially influence the justice with his lavish gifts of trips and other benefits.
Follow the Advocate channel on Twitter and Instagram to stay updated on stories that matter every day. Here's our #1 story of the day. Take a look.
At this women's healthcare clinic in Ohio, Dr. David Burkons is telling women who are expecting to get medication abortions next week that they should change their plans.
They're scrambling to change their schedules to get in to see us earlier.
Dr. Burkons says his lawyer told him that starting Saturday, he can't give the drug mifepristone for abortions or miscarriages because of a federal judge's ruling in Texas last week. Mifepristone, in a regimen with another drug called misoprostol, is FDA approved for abortion up until 10 weeks after the last period, and they've been used safely for more than 20 years. Data analyzed by CNN shows mifepristone is even safer than some common low-risk prescription drugs, including penicillin and Viagra. Misoprostol can be used on its own in a medication abortion, but it's not FDA approved that way. Studies show it's not as effective, and some doctors say it can make a woman feel much worse.
We're more likely to see failures and therefore more likely to need surgical intervention after misoprostol alone.
Dr. Erica Werner is chairman of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at Tufts Medical Center in Massachusetts.
We train to try to keep people healthy, give them the most evidence-based care, and this ruling really jeopardizes that. We're feeling demoralized, we're feeling scared for our patients.
She's hoping that something will stop the Texas ruling from going into effect.
We may get advice from lawyers as the week goes on about whether we really need to stop next week.
Monday, U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services Javier Becerra vowed that the Biden administration would use every resource to protect a woman's right to reproductive health care.
I say this for every woman in America who may need mifepristone. Mifepristone is still legal for use. Mifepristone is still available today. And we are going to do everything we can within the legal process to ensure that that doesn't change.
But at clinics around the country,
It's a lot of uncertainty.
they don't know what will happen next, if they'll be able to keep giving their patients the best possible care.